I just sitting here thinking about the nightmare that's been my wife. And I mean, there's been no fun. There's been no I mean, she's got a few times now. The first time I called the police when we were living in Glen Haven, she had me on my back out behind the trailer home, and she had a hammer in her hand, and I was doing everything I could to keep her from raising that hammer to beat me with it. So I'm like pulling on her shirt, pulling on her shirt, and it started ripping. And yeah, I'm still gonna keep pulling. She has the hammer. So, there's a couple of solar panels against the back of the trailer, and as I was pulling, she got her arm stuck behind him and started screaming for help. It's like, help. Okay. Help. I'm the one in dire need of help and doing everything I can to help myself. And I'm not hurting her. I'm just trying to keep her from hitting me with a hammer. And she starts screaming for help because her arm's stuck behind the solar panels. And yeah, I ended up succeeding in pulling her shirt completely off. And then another time, it was a relief. She's been so crazy and so balls to the wall, screaming, yelling, constantly in a negative and bad mood. It was a relief. I enjoyed it. We actually sat and spoke with each other until about 4:15 in the morning. It was nice. She gets up and looks at me funny. I'm like, and proceeds to walk away through to the other end of the house and into the kids' room. And from in the kids' room, while the kids were sleeping, she starts screaming at me as loud as I've ever heard her. And that's the first time an automatic parenting pilot kicked into gear. I was just like, oh no. And I got up and I'm like, made my way into there and grabbed her and started pulling her out, and she started screaming for help. She started screaming for help, making a scene out of it. And so I continued to pull her out. And she put up this struggle where she's going to fight me. And I ended up... It wasn't something I ever thought that would happen. She began to fight me, and that's the first time I ever stopped her. Like, stopped her. That was just too much. I didn't beat her fucking ass to no end at all. I stopped her as quickly as possible before... I mean, our children's psyches, their livelihood, that's lifelong and life-threatening at that point. To be traumatized at 2 and 4 years old by a mom who came in... I like, in the struggle, we ended up on the floor, and I decked her twice, and she stopped. I mean, at that point, it was end the struggle and stop her from hitting me and just stop the whole thing. I couldn't even believe what had happened. She, as I was pulling her out of the room, she started yelling for help, screaming. And then a couple times she did it. A couple times, I saw our daughter needed a diaper change. And it's a routine thing to grab her, park her on the carpet real quick, drop to my knees. Just she does the same thing. It's always routine. It's never anything. And she's in the front end of the home, and she starts screaming, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "What the fuck?" I tried to ignore it, and then she starts screaming, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm changing our daughter's fucking diaper." It's like, hold on. You know what? This woman is starting shit and then screaming for help. Picking moments in time when it's like convenient for her to what do you mean, what am I doing? I'm changing the daughter's diaper. And like, it's all just striking me right now that, and I mean, it's just like, okay, now I'm seeing what the fuck is going on. She's taking ordinary, routine, parenting as far as changing a diaper goes and making a scene out of it. As if something inappropriate is occurring. I'm like, you know what? The only thing inappropriate that's occurring is this bitch yelling help when she doesn't need help, when she needs to help her children by knocking it off and shutting the fuck up. And then, you know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I was in it to win it. That in it to win it for our kids, in it to win it for her. Was what began as postpartum depression changed so many faces that I had actually forgotten where we started. For a little while, I'd actually forgotten where we started. At one point in time, I could have told you the different faces it changed into. But thinking back through everything, I'm still wondering where my wife went. Sweet mother who was seen to our baby girl became this monstrosity of dysfunction that I can never be around again. Like, if she doesn't, she, she, she would need reclamation in order for me to parent with her again. And right now I'm concerned about our kids, you know, long run and, you know, their livelihood and psyche development in the long run. And I'm concerned about them. I have every right to be. She's a fucking freak. She makes I can't let this injustice roll. The kids are with her at grandpa's house when they could be here at grandpa's house. They can be here with level-headed guidance and not there with lopsided leading. It's amazing what can go down in court as just and you can't tell me that what's just is detrimental to the life, safety, and well-being of my kids. That woman doesn't give a shit about those kids. She'll use them for anything she wants at any given moment in time. And right now, yeah, I got is the most abusive bullshit I've ever fucking been exposed to, let alone think could happen, let alone imagine could be. I can't even believe it. And you know, just because she got hit doesn't mean that I haven't been hit. I'm not the abusive parent. I wouldn't even dream of pulling that shit on her. My mind is elsewhere where if it's not real, then it doesn't compute. Like, it doesn't figure into any equation. Like, if it's not true, then you can't grow with it. You can't grow from it. And she's got this bully of a mouth. She would just sit and talk shit to me. I'm like, I don't even know where this came from. And you know what is, by all means, it's not healthy. And she just do it constantly, day in and day fucking out. I can't even believe what's happened. Like, we got married. I had a couple of things to do. You know, I retrieved my driver's license. Deal with this disease I have. I don't have time. The kids and I do not have time for her shit. And now the kids are with her, and it's like, I wonder how that's going to affect them in the long run. I mean, psychos come from what kind of parent? I mean, it's a threat to the health, life, safety, and well-being of everyone in society. For my kids to be taken from me? From me? You people are tripping. And seriously, I don't mean that to offend anyone, but damn. From me? I am an American man. I have no time for bullshit or shit, period. And to be wrapped up in the tyranny of her corruption, the tyranny is court orders, judges' decisions, uh, you know, law enforcement's misjudgments. I'm gonna have to go and get my kids. I mean, this cannot be tolerated. It can't. At all. Yeah. In a sweeping generalization, you people are tripping. If you think this is gonna fly, and y'all got me worried sick. Like, I've been freaking out. At times, I am stuck with a manic high that gets me so riled and rattled that I can't fall asleep until the wheels fall off. Those beautiful children are not in good hands. She's over there, screams at her dad. She's screaming all. I mean, since we've been split apart, she's had me on the phone so much, hearing everything that happens over there, that I I gotta go get him. And it's not easy for me to think about with the way law enforcement has treated me, law enforcement officers, and everybody. I mean, y'all disregard what I told you and ignored me and walked away. When I called it in and told you that I have a video of what she's doing, I got this, to look at, you know? And it's just like, okay, all right, well, I must be some kind of piece of shit. What you helped bring to fruition, you can help undo. It doesn't take intervention from the state or any state to stop it. It's just we can all see eye to eye on what's important, and make an improvement together. I mean, that's what I've been looking for. But you guys criminalize and take my kids away? Like, me? Just because their mom is a psycho. And, we're newlywed. We were newlywed. And then, had a baby, and then this happens. How do you think I feel? I'm like freaking out, heartbreaking. And I'm just being patient. But I can only be patient to a specific point of which I'm like, all right, I have to do something or she's going to hit me, and I'm stuck in it for her, for the kids. And I admit it. At the time, it seemed like the noble and righteous thing to do. But now, I shouldn't have even entertained it. But also, at that point, if not entertaining it, it's not right for me and the kids to have to leave. When someone's doing that, they need to go, because they're infringing. Whoever's infringing upon the rights of others is the one at fault. and must be removed. Like this whole, the whole, the whole, the typical way of doing things, take the children and leave. Well, what is that going to do and work out in the end? Surrender everything to the nut job? And no, not in this country. Not at all. Is that what you work for? As law enforcement officers? Is that what you work for? Is that what military personnel fight for? No, it's not. And innocent people are being taken advantage of all the time. And then when we are bailed on repeatedly and we resort to using our constitution, resort to our constitutional rights, then you criminalize us. Thanks for the setup. Thanks for setting me up and fucking me. You know what I mean? It's not me who did it. I don't even talk shit to that woman. I was patient for a long, long time. It finally got to a point where, yeah, I did bad mouth her back somewhat. But holy shit. And now me and the kids are assed out, fucking shit out of luck. Because a law enforcement officer fucking turned his back on us when she was trying to hit me with a fucking hammer. Can we please correct the situation and work together? Like, what? I shouldn't have to jump through hoops and into barrels. Shouldn't have to. And no one else should ever have to abandon their home life for the sake of a Nazi-esque narcissistic personality disorder. She doesn't give a shit. And pardon me for giving a fuck. But I didn't mean to fucking put my kids through that shit. Pardon my language. This is between you and I. This is how I address things with other grown-ass adults. It's not how I'm going to address things with my children. Or even conduct myself. Even conduct myself like in their presence. So apparently it's up to me, huh? Because if any of you instruct me on what to do, you could lose your jobs or something. Not in this country. You people don't work for that shit in this country.